Welcome to our first commented weekly update on pharmacovigilance regulatory intelligence. This is based on our well-established IVREC newsletter. We are publishing every Monday night, and many of our colleagues are heavily relying on the updates. Real updates are actually real-time in IVREC. So every week we will just pick one or two examples of really important regulatory intelligence alerts that just demonstrate what you should be doing in every pharmacovigilance department, doing the impact analysis and implementation of the regulatory intelligence alerts. The best way how to do it is, of course, in GXP tracker, GXP validated tracker. And the best solution is IV tracker that you can get as a part of your IVREC package. All these news will be already pre-prepared for you there, including the general impact assessment. So your work would be much easier if you get, instead of a cup of coffee, the IV tracker, or maybe in addition to the cup of coffee. So the weekly newsletter is just selecting the highlights. So this week is selecting just 14 highlights that you might need to process in your regulatory intelligence system. I will just highlight one example, and that's actually the clarification on the EU GVP update Addendum 2 for masking guideline, because it affects all of us who work in the European Union. You know that there are these systems for reporting to EudraVigilance and downloading cases from EudraVigilance. And we are all supposed to use the business rules that apply to pharmacovigilance and to EudraVigilance. For global companies, it's especially challenging because you need to follow both the global guidelines as well as local guidelines. And every company needs to establish their own rules, how to do it. That's why the clarification like this is so important. First of all, the EMA, European Medicines Agency, is telling us that the newer guideline is, of course, superseding all the older guidelines. So the new EU GVP Addendum 2 is superseding the ICSR implementation guideline. So you really need to do a change in your setup of your pharmacovigilance systems. It specifically asks for data fields that should be masked if you have a data, should be left blank, and those that should never be left blank or masked. Those fields actually include the protected information like patient identifiers, names, date of birth. If you have this information, the EMA is asking us to report it to EudraVigilance. You are not supposed to mask it or left it blank. On the other hand, when you download the cases from EudraVigilance, you need to follow the confidentiality rules and the GDPR. Because the international transfer, which for most global companies it is, or even if you are a local company and you need to report outside of the European Union, it is considered to be international transfer of personal health data. So GDPR and all the legislation applicable is affecting these kind of transfers. First of all, always remember that when you are downloading the cases from EudraVigilance, you can only use L2A access for download of the cases that you will be reporting elsewhere. If you have used your L2B access, that's only for signal detection and signal assessment. It's not supposed to be used for reporting. Remember, IVG is here for you and has already done the impact analysis for you. So why don't you reach out and get more from your IVREC subscription? Thank you.